Hey fellas, how you doing? In this video I wanted to speak about something that came up again this week whilst I was teaching, and it's obviously it's in regards to social anxiety and building relationships, and that's the fear of connection. That's the fear of human connection. I had this fear for many years, of course, and from going quite deep, very deep into my own psychology, one of the things that was quite shocking for me when I first realised this, it's very enlightening, was for many years I was frightened of connecting with people. It almost seemed bizarre to me, because I've always had quite a lot of friends growing up. But this truth only really came to me. This came to me again when I had a spiritual awakening, when I woke up, and this realisation came about from after I stopped going out to pick up women as a full-time career, and as a, sorry, I think I've spat on the camera there, that's a bad habit. As I stopped doing it, and it was only when I stopped going out picking up women for sex, and actually also looking at the relationships in my life with friends and with family, that's when I realised, yeah, this is yeah, I'm afraid, I'm scared of people really knowing who I am. And not just them not really knowing who I am, I'm scared of that myself. I'm scared to see that side of myself. Now, I would say this is not an easy thing to overcome, unless you really want to do it. As a matter of fact, you've got to be willing to die to overcome this fear. You've got to face pretty much everything you're running away from. And that's what I did. So that's what I want to help you sorry, in this video today. And this has came about, as I've said, with working with people with social phobia and anxieties and childhood trauma, all connected to one another, and of course problems with addictions. So guess what happens when we're or you are afraid of connecting with people? You go and look for connections in other places, different means, but actually this type of connection is disconnection. So for example, a man that's afraid of falling in love with a woman because deep down he's frightened that she'll leave him, cheat on him or hurt him, he'll rationalize that and pick up lots of different women, and he'll just have kind of like a casual relationship with them. So he'll be sleeping with them, he'll still connect with them, but he won't connect with them on a deeper level. He'll almost stop at a certain point of connection. When he starts feeling it becomes intimate, and that's usually when you'll see pain bodies come out, you'll see your issues come out, and I've certainly seen that in myself at the time. So what he'll then do is, as I said, he'll rationalize it, and the actual means of connection will be substituted with an addiction. And it will be an addiction to the opposite. It'll be the addiction of anti-connection, if that's even a word, but I know you guys will understand me. So anti-connection will become an addiction, which will be in the form of sleeping with lots of women, or even having relationships with friends surrounding that are not fully congruent. They're not based on love, because he or she, or whoever's watching this video or is struggling with this, won't allow people to get close to them, and that causes deep inner suffering. Now, on a conscious level, you may not be aware of it. You may not be aware of actually your own true intentions, because you're too afraid, you don't want to be aware of it. And that's why I said to you, these things became apparent to me 2 years ago, after having a spiritual awakening, and after retiring from being a pickup artist and having sex with lots of women and doing lots of bad things. So the fear of connection seems to fall into a lack of integrity, which falls into self-hate, self-destruction, depression. And this is when people start to feel like they can't trust people are taking advantage of them. But you'll actually realize it's you that doesn't trust yourself. You'll actually realize that it's not people that can't be trusted. That doesn't really make a difference. It's actually the relationship with you. And obviously, if you don't trust people and you're not fully surrendering to relationships, you're going to attract people that are exactly the same. This is all happening on the unconscious. And I was able to understand this for myself and then be reminded of it when I watch Gabor Mate. Gabor Mate is what I consider a great psychologist. He's a psychologist, someone that specializes in attachment, addiction and illness. And he talks about all these unconscious childhood traumas that lead on to fears. And if you don't address these fears and you don't start working on them, and I've spoken about all the ways in which you do that, sorry, it will get worse. And I've got my own conclusion to this. I think in your 20s, you'll probably get away with it. It's not that bad. But when you get to your 30s, I'm 32 now, it starts really affecting you. And that's when it affected me. It affected me when I got to 30. I started about 30 and a half. I'm going to be 33 now. 2 years ago, I started to feel this immense pain. I started to feel lonely. I started to feel depressed. Even though I had women around me, sex, money, attention, I felt abandoned. I honestly felt like that, and I've started to feel I don't know if I can trust anyone. And that was coming from a childhood trauma. Now I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way because I'm living with integrity. I've identified my true self. And I've stopped my addictions. Obviously there's still things that I'm addicted to, but the big ones that were affecting me, I stopped it. And the main one was wearing a mask. I was addicted to not being myself, and that was giving me so much pain. And then all the other ones, like I've said, pornography, which I stopped, alcohol, which I completely stopped, and meaningless sex. This is my opinion. You could beg to differ. So I wanted to I didn't really want to teach you anything as such. I wanted to share that with you and see what you think about that. And since I got to my 30s, I realised that human beings, we yearn for connection. We can't really do without it. We're not designed to disconnect, although some of our society likes to promote that and some of us like to play that game, but that creates suffering. And that's when I say, of course it's about love. And it's very hard to feel loved, excuse me, when you don't know who you are, you don't trust yourself, you don't love yourself, and you don't have those relationships in your life. But guess what? Here's the catch. Sometimes to get that connection with ourselves, we have to lose all the relationships that we've built up around us, that we've built from a dishonest place. And that takes a lot of courage. I had to do that. And this is one of the things that comes up when I work with people in my 6 weeks program. They've built relationships that are not based on honesty. That's why they don't trust their friends, they don't trust themselves. They're not enjoying their habits because their habits are not coming from their authentic self. It's coming from a multiple personality. And this all dates back to the childhood trauma. So it's very important to realize this in yourself, because you can go around, I was doing it for a long time, thinking that everyone's against me, everyone hates me, no one likes me, I can't trust anyone, or I can't fully open up, or sometimes I can. It was creating a lot of pain. But at the same time, catch-22, you're getting a lot of pleasure out of it, because the false ego, and this really come as a shock to me, guys, because I always kind of said to myself, why would anyone get pleasure out of suffering? But people do. I obviously did myself when I was wearing a mask, because it's quite soothing to be a victim. Because when we're a victim, we say, someone did this to me, and I'm hurt, and the world is against me. I can't work because this reason, because I've got a condition, and I'm not downplaying that. I'm not downplaying that if you're ill, sometimes you can't work. I'm just saying victimization is a dangerous place to be at. And that's when depression comes on, self-pity. And I've done it myself. I've done it myself, and I've never felt good. I've always felt like a coward, and it just gets worse and worse. So to come out of the victim mentality, you have to become an honest person. That's the only way I know how to do it. This is someone telling you now that used to be a very dishonest person 2 years ago, and hid and rationalized it and didn't want to see it, and seemed to get that back from other people. So you have to start being honest, and it's not even questionable. Is it worth it? It's your life, you have to do it. Come on. This is what I say to people when I work with them. If I can't inspire you to want to save your life, then I mean, if I can't inspire you to inspire yourself, then you're not going to change it. And this is the mistake I see with people that are not happy in their life, and especially people that are suffering with social anxiety and childhood trauma and low confidence, low self-esteem, and especially with men that say, I can't seem to attract women, women don't like me. It's not true. Women do like you, but you don't like you. Women do like you, but you don't like you. And when you like you, women like you, and everyone likes you. Because that's how I used to be. No one likes me, women don't like me. And it wasn't true until I changed it. And same for women. When women say, I can't find a man that I can trust, all men are the same, that's not true. You don't trust yourself as a woman. And I've seen this, I've dated lots of women, I've started to mentor women. You don't trust yourself as a woman. So you're attracting what you're putting out, which is distrust, paranoia, and you're going to attract men like that. Because there are many men that can be trusted. You're speaking to one now. There are many women that can be trusted. There's also lots of men that you can't trust. You wouldn't be able to trust me 2 years ago because I didn't know who I was. I was a scared man. I'm still scared now, but I've got nothing to be scared about because I'm honest and I'm happy. So it's the same for women. We both do the same, both sexes. Guys will say, oh, you can't trust women, they're all gold diggers. Like, no, they're not. That's just a truth, it's not the truth. And then women will say, all men are dogs. They just want us for sex. They don't want to get to know us. It's not true. It's not true. That's a truth. It's not your. It doesn't have to be your truth. Just because there's one tribe of people that are doing something doesn't mean everyone is. And if you start believing that, that'll be the whole reality you'll create. Your whole life will be like that. And I've done both, so I know it's true. I had the reality where no one can be trusted and everyone's going to try and get one over on me, and that always happened. And it caused me to have violence and all the rubbish and negativity. I've also done the other one, like, actually, people are quite friendly, they can be trusted as long as I'm myself and I'm straight, and I've had that and it works. So, this fear of connection goes deep. And have you noticed how I always bring it back to you and to me? Because I always say, if you're afraid to connect with people, it's because you're afraid to connect with yourself. If you don't trust people, it's because you don't trust yourself. If you think money's bad and it's evil and people that make money are not good, it's because that's how you feel about yourself. So I thought that was interesting, and I definitely recommend you have a look at Gabor Mate. Gabor Mate, I think it's spelled G-A-B-O-R, Mate, M-A-T-E. Great psychologist. I love his talks, I love his vulnerability, I love the fact that he expresses that he's got ADHD, he admits that he still works through his own fears. He's just a really good teacher, and his talks are interesting. And yeah, again, most of the stuff he says, I already knew it, but it's nice to be reminded of it, and it's nice to hear it. I mean, all the stuff I'm telling you guys, you know, but it's nice to hear it from a different perspective. Sometimes we just need to hear something just to confirm that we're not mad, we're not weird, and we're not the only ones, and then we can go out and achieve it. And that's why I like doing these videos, to inspire people, just to say, I know how you feel, I've been through it. I've been through all of these negative places of feeling like this, and I've also come out on the other side feeling really good and disproving these things. And of course, this is a continuation for me, because I think, to some extent, we're all afraid of connection. We're all afraid of connecting really deep, in case we get hurt. But that's the only place we're going to have fun. That's the only place we're going to find love. But it's quite important that we find that in ourselves, and that's a lifelong battle. But there's definitely a place you can get to, which I always say to students, if they say to me, are you always happy, or do you never have any social fear? I say, I'm a lot more consistently happier than I used to be. That's good enough for me now, and I'm still working on stuff. But I am happy, yeah. I know I don't smile, but I'm smiling on the inside. So, for me, the fear of connection, again, it's almost like all the videos I do equate to the same thing. It's all about congruency, it's about honesty, and it's about making the changes in yourself and then seeing those changes projected outside. So I hope that's going to help, and just have a think about it. Even if you disagree, even if you watch this video and you think it doesn't make sense what he's saying, I don't have that, that's alright, you can disagree with me. I've disagreed with stuff many times from other teachers, and then a couple of years later I've said, oh, actually I was wrong, that's actually true. So sometimes we're not ready to hear a truth, it isn't true for us at a particular time. Years ago, it wasn't true for me to say, I just want monogamy and find a girlfriend. I would have laughed at that. I would have just said, that's for men who are weak, that's for softies. But I don't think like that no more, because I've grown up, I've identified who I am, and I've got more life experience. And this feels right for me, and I was able to actually realise that even back then, when I said I didn't agree with it, I actually did. That was just fear speaking. That was just a multiple personality. That was just ego. So I think this is a very interesting topic. I think it's one that's definitely worth examining. I got loads out of it. The students I teach every week get a lot out of it, and I know that you guys and girls are going to get a lot out of this, because this is the pursuit of happiness and it's worth it. And you've got to be willing to give everything for it, and if you're not, you're probably not going to connect with people. And just to remind you again, this is something I've personally been getting a lot of joy out, a lot of self-esteem and happiness. It's really from reframing from my addictions and being brave enough to identify what I'm addicted to. And really, sometimes I say to people, to overcome an addiction, you've got to exchange it for another addiction. And by that I mean, if you're addicted to alcohol, then it would be better to replace alcohol for herbal tea and get addicted to herbal tea. That would be a healthier addiction, or water. So when I was addicted to sex with women, and that's still an addiction for me, to stop me doing that, I found a way to, to compensate for that addiction was the work I do, was going out and teaching people who've got social anxiety and making video blogs and talking and doing what I love. That really helped me to refrain from that addiction. So I hope that helps. I'll see you guys soon. Have a think about that. The fear of connection, the fear of intimacy, and the way to overcome it is to become your true self and be honest, and all the things I've spoken about in the other videos. I'll see you soon. Bye.